are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Monday episode of Running Point on YSNLive.com. As always, brought to you. Am I doing that? Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. You can see them right there. We thank them for their constant support of not just this show, but YSN and everything they do. They go the extra mile for you, and we try to do the same here on this show and on YSN every single day. We got a great show for you today. We have an interview, we have recaps, we have previews, everything that we always do. But before we start all that, I gotta get serious for a minute and just give good vibes, prayers, everything imaginable. The East Palestine, obviously, everyone knows what's going on. I mean, hopefully by now you understand what's going on in East Palestine. Just a unprecedented kind of disaster with a train derailment that has caused an enormous fire, and now a kind of really dangerous situation with a couple of pressure tankers that are right on that teetering point. Everyone's been evacuated from that 1 mile radius from the train derailment, and we have a lot of people that are affected by that in our YSN range, and even our own office is in the evacuation site. So we want to send our very deepest prayers, thoughts, everything to everyone that is being affected right now in East Palestine. It's kind of like our home base, East Palestine. DJ, just a kid from East Palestine. He has been doing everything that he's doing in Vegas and rocking our YSN flag at the NFL flag football event, but doing it with East Palestine on his mind, and that's had to be a really tough thing. So he's going to be welcome back today, and obviously he's very close to that situation geographically, so he's affected by it. Brian Scott, our wizard behind the curtain, same thing. He's right there in East Palestine. This hits home. This really does. So we want to make sure that we are giving our own thoughts and concerns and our thoughts and prayers to everyone in East Palestine right now, especially the first responders that are dealing with this and on the ground, boots on the ground, putting themselves in real danger. I mean, that's just the reality. It's a very dangerous situation from what we've been told by all the experts. Also want to give a shout out to 21 WFMJ for doing a great job covering it. They're our wonderful partners. We love WFMJ, and although we talk about them in the sports scene a lot, and obviously they're a partnership with WFMJ Sports, their news crew has done a wonderful, extremely good job of being first on the scene, getting live press conference. I believe they were the only ones at that first live press conference on Friday night, working late hours, just keeping everybody as updated as possible on what is going on in East Palestine. So I commend them for their hard work. Obviously, no one's really prepared for a situation like this, whether it be dealing with it first responders wise. You're never really expecting this kind of thing to happen, but everyone's been able to handle it really well, from the news crew, from the media, from the community, and also, of course, the first responders that are handling it. So before we get into anything, I just wanted to take that and give that a moment, let that breathe, and keep East Palestine in YSN's thoughts and prayers, of course. With that being said, we had a bunch of basketball over the weekend that did happen, and we got to get to some recaps and some score updates and conference standings updates, because we got to rewind all the way back to Friday to get you caught up on what's been going on. And we will start with the first score that came in on Friday, like always. And it is the Warren JFK girls. Remember, on Friday they played in the girls boys doubleheader against Mogador. It was a close one for the Eagles on the girls' side. Mogador, though, able to escape 45-41, the final score on that side of the girls and boys doubleheader. We go into boys scores now. Ursuline, a big impressive win over Howland, and they had to go on the road. Howland had won 3 straight. They were a streaking Tigers team. Ursuline was able to handle their hot streak, and really another impressive win. And you look at Ursuline and the way they've been winning games on the boys' side, despite what you believe, it's not all, extremely awesome offense and a lot of firepower. I mean, yes, they have all that. They can score 80 points, and we've seen them do it, but 55-33, that's more of a defensive tilted game, and they were definitely up for the task. So I know a lot of people talk about Ursuline's athleticism and their scoring ability and their talent on the offensive side of the ball, and that's always going to happen. The offense is going to get more talk because it gives the highlights, it gets on the stat book. No one shares highlights of just a good defensive possession, right? That doesn't get on the highlight reel. But Ursuline plays very, 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 very good defense and holding this Howland team that can score a bunch to 33, while Howland was playing pretty good defense as well. I mean, holding the Irish to 55 is not easy, but the Irish defense definitely more than up for the task, and they have the comfortable 55-33 victory over the Tigers. How about a close one? Orange able to get the win 60-59 over Beechwood, a very good win for the Lions, who have been a team with a struggle this season. So for them to get a 1-point, very exciting victory, good to see out of that program. LeBray got the win over Liberty on Friday night, 84-52, the final score for you there. Brookfield's offense as good as ever. They have 2 1,000-point scorers on the team, Donovan Pawlowski and Isaiah Jones. They both signed on last week as well to play football at the next level. So congratulations to those both. But football is where they're going to be spending the rest of their career. But they're not done on the basketball court yet, and they can both really light it up. Another great offensive performance out of the Warriors, 79-57, the final score there, as Brookfield gets the win over Champion. We saw a good one in the battle for first place in the EOAC. Wellsville able to win 53-46 on that one over Lisbon. We go to Poland. They were able to end South Range's 88 win streak, 55-46. I was at this game, and I was really impressed with J.P. Genova from Poland. He put on a show. He could not be stopped. This Raider defense has been playing so well of late, and it's been hard for a team's best players to really shine bright against their defense. They do a wonderful job at the scouting report and saying, okay, this player's not going to beat us. We saw them do it with Gus Johnson and Gerard. We saw them do it with Jefferson. We saw them do it with Struthers, Struthers, and we saw them do it with all these other teams. And Poland came in, and JP Genova just kind of, it felt like he did whatever he wanted against the defense. Really, he was hitting threes. He was driving real well. He was able to finish under the hoop. He finished with 23 points. And he was a big contribution to that 55-46 win. And this was one where South Range, it hurts because they came into that night. They were fresh off, being in first place. Jefferson beat Gerard on Tuesday. So, there was a 3-way tie at first. South Range, Jefferson, Gerard. And South Range was in the boat where if they just took care of business, they already played Gerard twice. Gerard couldn't control what South Range did, and South Range was an opportunity to kind of win out in the NE8 and earn a share of the NE8s. They have to play Jefferson again, of course, but they didn't have to play Gerard again. But for all that, they had to get past Poland, and the Bulldogs said, nah, there go your hopes. Well, not all your hopes, but now they're going to be one game back of Jefferson and Gerard. And obviously Jefferson and Gerard don't play each other again. South Range will play Jefferson one more time. So the best that South Range can do under their own control, as far as what they can control, is knock Jefferson down into second place with them. But they can't beat Gerard again. So they have to hope that they're able to beat Jefferson later on in the season. That one will be in Jefferson. And then they have to hope that Gerard stumbles against somebody. And this NE8 definitely has proven that it can happen. Poland was sitting right in the middle, and they beat South Range. And we've seen Hubbard beat Jefferson. So This NE8 has been very even this year on the boys' side, so I'm not saying that Gerard can't stumble anywhere. It's definitely possible. But that's what South Range has to just kind of hope for. They have to take care of their business, win out in the NE8, and then maybe if Gerard slips up, they can find themselves in a tie for first place. But Poland kind of spoiled the party a little bit on Saturday with JP Genova, like I said, doing a very, very good job. Also, Danny Riccatelli, what am I doing? Natoli. The, I don't even, Natoli did a really good job inside. Aiden Leon is a tough guy to keep off the glass, and Natoli did a really good job, boxing him out, keeping him out of the paint. I think his contribution wasn't a lot on the stat sheet. I think he was in double figures, but it wasn't like the eye-popping 23 that Genova had. But a lot of his contributions to that game were the under the radar, don't go noticed by the stat book, this kind of gritty work in the paint on the defensive side, on the rebounding side, some offensive rebounds that led to threes. So Poland did a good job handling the physicality that the Raiders bring inside. One with boxing up Aiden Leon in the paint, and then with Landon Moore's ability to kind of catch the ball at the high post and turn around and run right into the paint as well. They were able to do a really good job on both those fronts. If you force the Raiders to only be a perimeter jump shot team, that's where they can struggle. They have shooters, but all those shooters are kind of reliant on their ability to go inside first. They're an inside out team. So yeah, Luke Rowan has had a great couple weeks and he's hitting threes at a high clip, but that game, they are not a shoot first team. They're an inside first team. And if you take away their inside game, then you're going to have a lot easier time guarding the 3-point line for the Raiders. So that's what Poland did, and they got the win. Like I said, final score was 55-46. Another 9-point game in the NE8. This one went to Struthers as they beat Lakeview 58-49. We go into United. They got the win over East Palestine 51-31. The final score there. Lowville, they beat Sebring on the Trojan Senior Night 57-28. The final score to that one. We have Warren JFK getting the win over Mogdor on the boys' side to kind of even up that girls-boys doubleheader. The final score there was 73-67. The Eagles beat Mogador. We saw Springfield get the win on Friday over Jackson Milton, 68-51. We saw Girard take care of business. They were able to beat Hubbard and stay in first place in the NE8. 47-34, the final score there. Jefferson kept pace with them as they beat Niles 64-44. So both those teams still locked atop the NE8 in first place, both of them with 2 losses in the league, and they've already played each other. So they're on a collision course with everybody else, but they've split the regular season, and that's where they stand. 3 losses, 2 losses, 3 losses. I think it's 3. I'll check the standings when I'm done with the scores. Columbiana gets the win over Latonia 55-23. By the way, if you want to just check out before I get done with the scores, you can just go over to ysnlive.com/standings like I will when I'm done recapping the scores and check out the NE8 standings. Our team does a really good job with that. But 55-23, Columbiana gets the win over Latonia. We have 49-47. West Branch gets the win over Salem. This was a fun one in West Branch as the Warriors were able to knock off their rival in the EBC, their biggest rival, of course, Salem. And what else do you want from a rivalry game other than a tight finish down the stretch, right? 49-47. Once again, the Warriors get the win. Joey Jackson had a great game like he usually does for the Warriors in the win. We saw Cheney beat East 86-67, the final score there. On Friday, we also saw Waterloo get the win over Middle Ridge 64-55. Your final score to that one. Another close game on Friday is Louisville fell to Canton Hoover 56-53, a tough one for the Leopards. And then we saw also Edgewood get the win over Lakeside 78-74, a big one for the Warriors to go into the Dragon's Den and get a big win inside that CBC Lake Division for the Warriors. Newton Falls stays atop the MVAC with a win over Garfield 57-38. They're still leading the Gray Conference of the MVAC. We saw Campbell get the tight win over Crestview 49-47 on Friday night. A lot of close games this weekend, that this being one of them. We saw Wyndham fall to Bristol 74-66. You just heard Matt Morrison and Coach Upshire talk a lot about this Bristol team on Talk More with Matt Morrison that was live before us. But Bristol, a very good boys basketball program, always in the conversation for districts, and they flexed their muscles a little bit with a win where they needed all 74 of those points because Wyndham's offense is very good. But another note on this game, we want to congratulate Wyndham's Chase I for getting his 1,000th career point in this one. So although the Bombers lost, they were able to get a milestone kind of moment for Chase I. He's put together a great athletic career in every sport he plays. And basketball is just one of them. We're going to see him in the basketball court. We're going to see him on the baseball field as well a little bit later on in the spring. But congratulations to Chase I for getting his 1,000th career point in that game against Bristol. We saw a close one in reserve as they were able to knock off the McDonald Blue Devils 39-38. The first time these two teams played, it was not as competitive as it was here today. Well, I should say Friday, not today. They didn't play. They played an hour ago. No, what am I doing? But as it was on Friday, 39-38, though, Western Reserve able to pull off the victory and get the season sweep over McDonald, which is something I don't think they've done in quite a while. Sweep McDonald out of the MVAC Scarlet tier. We go to Warren Harding, who beat Austintown Fitch 57-45, the final score there. And then we saw Southern get the win over Valley Christian 41-40. Final score there. Another close game. This is going to be a theme of these recaps over the weekend. We had a lot of really close, nail-biting, close, thrilling victories. Southern, another one, 41-40. They get the win over Valley. That was it for Friday. We'll go into Saturday, and the first news that broke Saturday was United's Madison Kibler. She signed to Geneva to continue her basketball career, so congratulations to her. And she celebrated signing by getting a victory on Saturday. The final score for United was 42-38 in overtime over Western Reserve. So that's a big way to celebrate signing at the next level. Go on and get an overtime victory over a very good Western Reserve basketball team. 42-38, the final score there. A little bit later on in the week, you're going to be able to hear the interview with Madison Kibler. We had a chance to catch up with her after her signing. So stay tuned to Running Point for that, as we'll have an interview with the Eagles senior and one of their captains, Madison Kibler, a little bit later on in the week. Some other Saturday scores for you. Louisville was able to get another close victory against another really good team. This one, a Uniontown Lake, 53-49. The Leopards win this one. Taryn McGlitch becomes the Leopards' all-time leading three-point in a season. What am I saying? I'm going to word that differently. She broke the record for 3 points in a season held by Louisville. So congratulations to that spot-up shooter on getting that. Phenomenal player in Taryn McGlitch and a definite three-point threat from beyond the arc. Not their only one. They have a couple of really good shooters, but she's definitely the one that has shined the brightest this season, as she gets the record for three-pointers in a season for Louisville. 53-49, they beat Uniontown Lake. We saw Crestview go into overtime and escape the layover from their win over Garfield. Big win over Garfield in overtime. They could take first place in the MVAC. But now Liberty came into town, and Liberty was a very motivated team to knock Crestview down. Crestview was not falling for it. They win in overtime 52-49. They escaped two straight overtime games in the MVAC grade tier. That could go very far if they're able to clean up the rest of their games and get the MVAC championship. We'll look back on this game and say, man, they dodged a bullet because they beat Garfield. That was the one that they had to. They were both tied for first place, and they come in with Liberty, who's a very good team, and I've talked about it. Liberty has 2 game wreckers on their roster in Demi Watson and Aaliyah Foster that you always have to be careful about. And they came in guns a-blazing, 52-49. Crestview's able to hold them off in overtime. But, that's going to be a game. If Crestview ends up the MVAC champions, that's going to be a game we look back on and say, man, that's a gritty championship caliber performance by the Rebels. We go into some more scores on Saturday, as Heartland Christian was able to get the 2-point victory over Valley Christian, 37-35, the final score there. Salem was able to beat Austintown Fitch. Matt Morrison and I talked this one up a little bit in his show that came on from 12 to 1. Talk more with Matt Morrison. We saw Salem play really good defense like they always do. But the note in this game also Zeta Creaky gets her 1,000th career point. So congratulations to her. Needed 3, got 3. And she's just the latest in Austin Town Fitch's 1,000-point club. But congratulations to Zeta Creaky on getting that 1,000-point performance, and also congratulations on Salem for going on the road and having one of their best offensive games of the year, scoring 61 points. We saw Ysn in the Holy War to decide the Steel Valley Conference Championship 48-44. They hold off a furious, and I mean furious, comeback from Cardinal Mooney. It fell just short. There was one point in the second half, folks, where Ysn was up 42-25. But Maria Fire just would not give in. And I'm saying her alone because it felt like, and this is not true, because basketball is absolutely a 5-person game, even if one player is scoring a lot. But it really felt like she was a one-man show. I mean, she scored 30 points and she had maybe 8 at halftime. I mean, it was incredible to watch her just refuse to give up in this game. And she's going up against a post player and Elena Smith that is really hard to go up against. But she was hitting reverse layups. She was hitting little fadeaway jumper. It was just one of those days where she caught, pun intended, she caught fire and everything was falling. She ended up with 30 points, which I was told by Coach DiOrio was a career high for her. So congratulations to Maria Fire on that. That'll give her a lot of momentum heading into the tournament. But Ysn is able to do just enough to escape with the victory. Mooney had the ball with about 6 seconds left on the baseline, down 48-44. That's desperation time, but if they're able to get a quick bucket, maybe with 4 seconds left, they foul, Ysn misses free throws, they could have an opportunity there to tie up the game or win. But on that 6-second inbound, Lily Scott made a very athletic kind of jump, tipped the ball up into the air. And once that ball was touched, the clock starts. So by the time the jump ball was called, there was like 1.5 seconds left, which was just not nearly enough time to get 2 possessions. So Lily Scott made the game-winning play. Elena Smith made all the plays in the game, and she led with 19 points for the Irish. She played really well. I mean, like I said, it took some miraculous and some awesome efforts for Maria Fire to hit those shots that she was hitting. It was not like they were just easy layups that were given up. I mean, she had to go into the body of Elena Smith and do like a little fadeaway jumper or a reverse layup. She hit a couple of those. So it was one of those things where Smith is playing good defense, trying not to foul, trying to stay away from foul trouble, but at the same time trying to be her aggressive self. But Maria Fire was just one of those times that they always say it in basketball. Good offense can beat good defense if it's just going into the hoop. And that's what Maria Fire was. It wasn't enough to get the win, but it was very inspired basketball. I was so impressed. I said on the broadcast that was the best game I've seen her play, and we've been covering her since freshman year. So, and then after saying that, I found out that it was her career high. So, statistically speaking, it was absolutely the best game of her career. Unfortunately for her, I think she would take the win over the 30 points in each day. Ysn able to hold on once again, and they are your 2023 Steel Valley Conference champions, the first championship for Ysn since the renewal of the conference in girls basketball. And in fact, it has been Mooney's ever since that renewal came about. Mooney had held the throne, so Ysn came into the season knowing they would have to get through Cardinal Mooney to do it, and I think it felt a little bit more sweet for the Irish to do it on their floor, to do it on their rival's floor. I was able to ask both Bernard Scott and Elena Smith after the game about what it felt like, not just winning the Steel Valley Conference, but doing it at Mooney against the team that, won it last year. That's the team that you had to beat to clinch it. Made it feel even extra special. So check out those post-game interviews on ysnlive.com and our YouTube page because they were great conversations, both of them. Super excited they were able to win the Steel Valley Conference, but also realizing they have more work ahead because tournament time is right around the corner. We'll go into some more scores from Saturday as Warren and JFK traveled to Hoban, and Hoban flexed their muscles a little bit. 76-40. I thought this game would be a little bit closer, but that is only because they both played a similar opponent in the last week or so, and they both kind of handled them. So I thought, okay, if those numbers match up, this should be a little bit of a competitive game. But Hoban proved time and time again that basketball up there in that county is just on a different level. 76-40. Hoban gets the absolute victory. But they both played Cleveland Central Catholic, not too long ago, and they both were able to handle them. So I thought, hey, this could be a pretty competitive game, but it was not to be there, as once again Hoban gets to win. Final score for that one was 76-40. Some more final scores for you there. Edgewood, this is a big moment for Edgewood. They get the win 84-34, and Casey Kanicki from Edgewood scored 34 points in the game, and those 34 points gave her the all-time leading scorer in Edgewood basketball, whether that be boys or girls. She is now the best, you can say it, best basketball player that's come through the halls of Edgewood. And it's the second girl that we've seen do that for their program this year. A little bit earlier in the season, we saw JC Mullen become the Springfield Tiger all-time leader in points, whether that be boys or girls. And now we've seen Casey Kanicki do it for Edgewood. So we are seeing two girls basketball players that are quite literally setting the tone for the future of basketball in their school by hitting the mountaintop of the statistically the best basketball players that have come through the halls of those schools, and both of them have very rich traditions. You look at, especially, I was surprised, not surprised that JC Mullen did it, but surprised at the number that she was able to hit, because you look at Springfield's basketball, pedigree, especially in the boys, the Schulers. Remember Graham Mincher and what he was able to do for Springfield, Owen Bees, all those really good basketball teams that they had that I remember growing up as a kid rooting against, because I was a South Range student, but never being happy, because they had the Raiders number with a lot of really, really good basketball players that came through that program. Um, so to see JC Mullen kind of become the program's leader in points, I was like, oh man, she must be really special, and absolutely she is really special. And then Casey Kanicki does it for Edgewood. That it was 1387 and counting for Casey Kanicki. So congratulations to her. They're back in action tonight against Pymatuning Valley, which should be a really good game on the road for Edgewood. But congratulations once again for Casey Kanicki for becoming the Edgewood all-time leading scorer in their program's history. We go into Alliance versus East Liverpool. They were able to win 80-70 over the Potters. That's two good offenses going up at it. And obviously, you can tell by the final score, a combined 150 points between the two of them. Alliance just had a little bit more firepower there, able to get the win. South Range went into the Thriller Dome. They bounced back from their loss to Poland on Friday, and they were able to hold off Springfield 35-34 in another instant classic inside the Thriller Dome of South Range. And this ending was a little bit different than the ones that we've seen South Range finish. Every close game, it seems like they have the ball last and they hit a game-winning shot. This time it was their defense that had to step up. Springfield had the ball for like the last 30 seconds of the game, and I think Coach Irons did a really, really smart move here. They had 3 fouls, so they played really clean defense for the whole half. 30 seconds to go, and South Range just would let Springfield inbound it, eat like 3 or 4 seconds off the clock, and then foul. And they did that about 3 or 4 times before they got into 7 fouls. And they were able to take they was 30, and they ended up with 11. So they were able to take 19 seconds off the clock just by doing that. So Springfield's actual last possession, which I'm sure Coach Brink wanted to be 30 seconds, actually ended up being 11 seconds. And in those 11 seconds, they couldn't get a shot off. The South Range defense locked up. They wouldn't let Shondell Gordon drive anywhere. He tried to drive around the corner and was pushed all the way to the wing. And then he was kind of trapped, threw the ball, tried to get out of it, and it went out of bounds off of him. And the Raiders got the ball back with about, I think 0.7 seconds left. So great defense this time by South Range getting the win. We've seen them hit plenty of game-winning shots, game-winning free throws on the offensive side. This time it was their defense that had to come through, not just get the win by allowing 34 points, but also in the last possession come through, be smart with the fouls, foul at the right time, let the right amount of clock go off the clock, right amount of time go off the clock, I should say. And then of course not foul when you were done, when you were out of fouls to give, turn off that physical mentality. stay in front, hands up, and that's what they did. They did really just a beautiful job executing the 30-second defensive game plan that Coach Irons had. And it was a gutsy move, because if that goes the wrong way and, Springfield gets a shot off in that 11 seconds, South Range doesn't have an opportunity to come back from it. So I was talking my way through it on the broadcast, like, oh man, this is a gutsy move, because, if it backfires and you let Springfield, basically you're telling them, we're going to let you take the final shot, and they hit it, you're not giving yourselves a lot of time to come down and hit the game winner. But man, faith in the defense. They played well the whole night, and their defense came up with the big stop. 35-34, once again, the final score. South Range beats Springfield. Some more scores for you. Canfield girls were able to get the win over Howland, 52-37. That is the end of the AAC season for Canfield, and they are officially undefeated in the AAC. They already won the championship a couple of games ago, but they wanted to clean up their perfect conference season, and they do that with a win over Howland, 52-37. We saw Mooney get the win over Sharon, PA, 56-35. That was a home game after the girls hosted Ursuline, so it was a busy day down in Mooney. We saw Fitch get the win over Canfield, 62-61, the final score there. And once again, Matt and I talked about this game a little bit on his show, but a great performance from Fitch, hitting free throws down the stretch to get the win, 62-61. And that, I believe, is your recap of the weekend. You can find stories and recaps on ysnlive.com, post-game interviews on our YouTube page. As always, what a great weekend it was. A lot of close games. You saw a lot of those scores end in one-possession basketball games. And like I've said before, something about Saturdays, man. We have a lot of really good Saturday games this year. Hopefully we get a few more going into tournament time in the last couple weeks of this regular season for boys and girls basketball. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll get to our interview. We have Riley Hutton from Salem. We're going to hear from her and the great conversation that I was able to have with her a little bit earlier. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
As fine as the eye can see, the finest hardwoods from the finest trees. Made for your home and within your means, Baird Brothers will help fulfill your dreams. Let life and light come shining through in quiet morns. And heavy traffic, too. Find your easy-to-afford fine hardwood floors and doors and more at BairdBrothers.com.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig with you, as always, your faithful leader into this journey of high school sports from 1 to 2. We have an interview for you, the interview section of this show, and it is going to be Riley Hutton, one of the stars of that Salem basketball team. We call her the Flash on YSN. Let's hear what she had to say with me earlier this week. Anthony Hartwig here with a Salem basketball player profile. I'm joined by Riley Hutton. Riley, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, you have been nicknamed the Flash on YSN because of your speed. So I guess the first question, and we'll get you with an easy one right off the bat. What is the key to your speed? I mean, are there any tricks to the trade? Are there any warm-ups that you do? What are the tricks to the speed that you're able to pull off?
I mean, there's not really any tricks to it. I think it's mainly just like genetics and everything. I don't got any fancy stretches. I kind of just run.
Playing it close to the vest there.
Yeah.
If there are any secrets, she's not giving them out for her opponents. That's for sure. This season, now that we get to basketball, we get to a little bit more serious. But this season, before the season started, we all heard it. I'm sure you guys heard it. Salem's not going to be what they were last year. You know, they lost too much. What has been the major key this year into proving all those people wrong and to being as good, if not better, than you were last year?
We knew whenever we had scrimmages and everything, we knew we had to prove ourselves there, and we like really did that. We started like playing together, and people were like, wow, they're actually like not that bad this year. And so that really like showed us a preview of what like the season was going to be like.
Obviously, one of the big reasons people were saying that stuff is because of the great senior class you guys lost from last year. Even though they're not there anymore, they're not playing with you guys. How much have you felt kind of the legacy of them and the footprints of them and how they taught everyone how to be a leader here on the team this year?
Yeah, they really led us to our success this year because they showed us how to be great leaders last year, and we kind of all just like watched them be the great leaders they were and like take notes, and now we can really apply them to this year. And I think they're a huge part of our success so far, even if they're not here.
We go back into the summer where I'm sure you knew that you were going to be asked to be more of a leader this year. You were going to be asked for more leadership responsibilities.
Yeah.
What was going through your mind when you were preparing for that and trying to be a better leader and trying to step up for your team?
Yeah. Of course I was like nervous and everything, but I really knew I had to step up this year because like you said, 5 seniors graduated. So there was a lot of shoes to fill, and I knew I had to be one of them. So I stepped out of my comfort zone a little bit. I started like speaking up more and communicating with my team, trying to like be a leader. And I'm still trying to do it. And next year I have to do it too. So yeah.
Were there any conversations that the coaching staff had with you, like to gear you up to be a leader, to kind of instill confidence in you or anything like that?
Yeah, they knew that I had to step up a little bit this year because last year I was a little bit shy, and they wanted me to show my voice a little bit more this year. And so I trusted them, and that's kind of what I've been doing. So
like you said, you're going to have to do it next year too. A lot of people with the way that you've been playing of late think you're a senior, but you're not. You got one more year, next year as well. What has it been like kind of getting into that role this year and realizing that every step you take this year and every confidence boost you have this year can be carried over into a new season next year as well?
Yeah. I'm really grateful for like the opportunity to step up this year because it's just going to help me even more next year. It's not going to be new to me next year, and I'm going to be better at it next year. So that's really good because it is my senior year next year. So I'm really excited to like take everything I've learned from the past 4 years of trying to like be a leader and really just put it all together.
Junior year is that bridge from the happy-go-lucky youth of high school to the senior leadership.
Yeah.
What has it felt like kind of growing as a person this year as a junior and starting to think about the future a little bit and starting to think about the things after high school?
Yeah, it kind of really all hit me this year. Like, because like sophomore year, it's like you still got 2 more years and everything. And like a junior, you see all the seniors, that was them last year. And it was just like kind of crazy to think that like, wow, like next year's actually my senior year. And I have to start thinking about like what I would do after college and like if I want to play sports after college and everything. So it's all kind of crazy, but it's exciting at the same time.
All right, so you do have some great senior leaders though on this team that come back from their junior year last year. What have they meant to this team, and how much have they helped you improve as your leader?
Yeah, all of them are great leaders and they all set really great examples. Each one of them bring like a different type of leadership to the team, which is really important. So it helps like everything just like kind of come together and they all help in different aspects. So I think that's really special about them and it's really helped me learn some tips from them.
Go into that a little bit more. What senior brings what leadership aspect? Like who's the most vocal, who's the most hardworking, the stuff like that. Which ones bring which qualities?
Abby's definitely the vocal leader of the team. She's really good at like giving great instructions and like helping the team out. And Cami, she doesn't talk as much, but she shows like great examples on out on the court of how to be the leader, and she really has good advice for everyone. And Zoe is the hype man. She always hypes everybody up, and she always is just super sweet and nice to everyone and gives a great leadership of how to be a good teammate.
You know, how cool has it been to kind of watch what Abby's gone through, not being 100% last year because of the knee and being healthy this year and really just stepping up and showing everyone what a healthy Abby Davidson looks like.
Yeah, it's been really nice to have her back from her knee injury because I know she struggled with that a lot last year. So I think it really just kind of put her into the person she is today and the basketball player she is today. And if anything, it just really helped her. And it's good to see her without her brace on.
When you see a teammate go through adversity like that and get through the other end, whatever adversity you're facing, it doesn't have to be an injury. Does that help you kind of get through, whether it be a mental block or whatever adversity you're facing that day? Does looking at teammates like that really help you get through it?
Yeah, for sure. It definitely helps like inspire like me and other people that like even if there is adversity you can like get through it and it's not always like the end. So to get past that block. So yeah.
A lot of people are looking up to this team. You have a lot of youth at Salem that want to be a Quaker now when they grow up because of the way that you guys have been playing, especially the last 2 seasons. What's that mean to you, knowing that you are a role model? Like you guys are role models to players that are trying to come up into the Salem program.
It's crazy. It really like to look at all like the little kids that support us and like look up to us. It really just wants to make us like the best that we can be and like just try to be great role models, and they really help a lot, and it's just really cool just seeing all the little kids that wear t-shirts with our names on it and come to the games and sit in the student sections and cheer us on. It's really inspiring and helps all of us like to play better and show them how to play basketball.
Has anyone asked for your autograph yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. It'll
yeah.
happen. Just wait. It'll happen. But when you're playing and you're going through that, how much is it in the back of your head, the role model and the fact that people are looking at you for an example?
Yeah, sometimes like during a game I'll look over and I just see like all the little kids like cheering, and like before a game sometimes they'll be like, "Can you please throw your shirt to me?" It's really just like heartwarming and like just wants to make you like play better when you're out there. You're like to do it for them. So it's really helpful.
All right, beginning of the game, you're looking in the stands, you're scanning the crowd. Who's the first face you're looking for? Like, who do you want to see before you start a game?
Definitely my dad or my papa. I always look to them and just see, and they'll give me like looks, and I'll just like nod back at them always.
Are they really easy to find too?
Yeah, my dad always sits at the top with his video camera. So.
Always making highlights for you and always helping you in your game. Talk about that dynamic, what it's been like to have him by your side and have him kind of help you along with this journey.
Honestly, I would not be like where I am today if it wasn't for him. Like ever since I was little, he has pushed me like every step of the way. He was my coach growing up. The best thing about him is that he just really believes in me, because sometimes I struggle with confidence. So he's like always there just to like make me more confident. He definitely has. And he just does everything for me. He films every game for me, and we can go over some like highlights together and like tell me what I can work on or what I did really good. So he definitely has shaped me into the player I am today, and I'm very thankful for him.
On days when your confidence isn't the best, what are some things that get you through it and get you to have those confidence boosts?
If I even if I don't have a great game, my dad is always there to point out the little things that I did good that I didn't notice in the game because I was just so wrapped up on all the things that I could have done better. He's always there to really point out you did this and you did this, and then I'm really well, yeah, I guess I did do that. So that helps my confidence a lot.
We have to talk about the Marlington game because it was probably the biggest win of your season. Marlington had your number for the last couple of years. It was time to go down and beat the Dukes. What did that feel like to kind of finally get that monkey off this team's chest and to be able to say that you can compete and beat that team?
Yeah, it was a great feeling. Going into it, all of us just had a different mindset. I feel that we didn't have before. I really felt this time that we were just gonna beat them because we all had that strong mindset going into it, and we're just tired of losing to them for 3 years in a row now. That was the first time I beat them since I was a freshman, so it was so great to finally just beat them.
And then with the win last night over West Branch, you guys are now EBC champions. You have a piece of that net.
Yeah.
When you hear that, you've been hearing it all day. What does that make you feel like?
It's a great feeling, especially when we had to beat West Branch to be EBC champions. It's a double win for us. So that was really special to us. And we knew it wasn't going to be easy, and we didn't go in there cocky or anything. And I think that's really what helped us come out with the win.
We are close to tournament time. You guys went to the regional finals last year. Now that you're getting closer and closer, how hungry is this team to try to get back to where they were last year and take that next step into Dayton?
Yeah. With last year going to regionals, it really just wants us, it makes us push harder to get there now because we see where we were before, and it just makes us want to go even farther this time. So I think it really just pushes us a lot to be better even than going to regionals last year.
With the way last year ended, has it ever been hard this year to keep, in the moment and not think about tournament and not look ahead and not think about how far you can go this year?
Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to not think about the big picture, but our coach has been really good at making us take each game at a time, focus on each game, not think ahead. We have to get through district semis first, then districts. We can't really look ahead because then that's just gonna mess us up on the moment and winning those games. So
You do have one of the most respected coaching staffs in the area. Talk about what it's been like to be under them and how much they've taught you about the sport.
it's been so great to have them as coaches because they don't only seem like coaches, but they seem like a family to us. And each of them bring something different to the table. Coach Dreger is always there with a bright smile, cheering all of us on, bringing positive energy. And Coach Hamilton is coach I've never seen before. She's not only coaches us about basketball, but she coaches us about life a lot. And she's taught all of us a lot of life lessons and really important things in life. And she's really just an inspiring person to look up to. And Coach Bailey, he's the best ever. He wraps my ankle every single game. So shout out to him for doing that. And he's really good with all the technical stuff and the technical aspects of the game. And we all just really appreciate him really much.
All right, so I want to take back to a moment this season where you found out that your coach was pregnant, and that was a team moment. You guys got to experience that with her. What was that like? I want to know what that was like, because you said family, and that's a big family moment. A lot of coaches might just have that with their immediate family. She had it with the team. What was that like for you guys?
It just was really special for us that she announced it to us we we were her family. So it literally just brought tears in all of our eyes, and we all started crying, and we were just so happy for her. And it was just crazy to think of, and we were all just very appreciative that in that moment of what we have as a team together, what other teams don't have that we do.
How many of you guys have thrown out name suggestions during the course of the season?
We actually have thrown out a lot of funny name suggestions, but yeah.
What's been your favorite name suggestion so far out of the roster?
Honestly, I don't remember. There was just one at practice a couple days ago that we were talking about that gave all of us a laugh, but I don't remember what we said.
When you look at, we talked earlier, you're starting to think about the future a little bit, starting to think about what you're going to have after high school.
Yeah.
You got any inkling about what kind of career you want to get into or what kind of things you want to major in college, or is it still kind of in the back of your head?
I think there's like a few things I'm swinging from. I don't know if I want to go into radiology because I'm interested in that type of stuff, or if I want to be a teacher because I like family time when I grow up. But I'm still kind of undecided what I really want to do.
When you think about that kind of stuff, what is the one thing that makes you the most nervous about like the next step of life, living on your own in college and getting away from home and things like that?
Yeah, it's just the thing that scares me the most is just like change. It's gonna be a huge change for me and challenges. So that's definitely the most scary part about it, but at the same time it's exciting. So I'm excited for it.
All right, Riley, before we let you go, I want to give you the chance to thank your support system and all the people that have kind of been there for you throughout your career.
Yeah, I definitely want to thank my papa and my dad the most because my papa, he's always just been there for me. He's sitting in the front every game. He can't move that good anymore, but he still manages to make it to every single game. And even when he's in like the hospital, he asks the nurses to bring up the game for him so he can watch it. And he calls me after like every game and just tells me how he's so proud of me. So he definitely really pushes me in basketball, and definitely my dad from what I said before, and my mom, she's a huge part of it. She always helps me get ready for the games, and it's always just there for me, and definitely all my coaches because they all push me and inspire me to be the basketball player I am, and obviously my teammates because they're always just there for me and they make playing the game fun. So
All right, Riley, we thank you so much for your time today, coming on with us and talking to us about this program and about your experience. We wish you the best of luck the rest of this year, and we can't wait to talk to you again real soon.
and thanks for having me.
Riley Hutton, one of the all-stars of that Salem basketball team on the girls' side, just a junior. Easy to forget that we have one more year of that speed in Salem coming back. We call her the Flash for a reason. One of the fastest players that you'll see on the Ysn family, and she uses that speed to her advantage both on the offensive and defensive side of the ball all game long. You can't teach speed, right? That's what they say. You can't teach speed, and you can't prepare for speed. So if you're trying to stop Riley Hutton and you're trying to build a game plan, you can't replicate that kind of speed in practice. So good luck with that. That's all I have to say. Salem's on a very, very good season. They are number 2 in our fresh new power rankings that just came out. Head over to Ysn Live, our social pages, to check out the new top 25, really just fresh out of the oven, like just posted. So make sure to check those out. Before we get out of here, though, we're going to give you the preview of the games on the network tonight. Got girls basketball, got a couple of boys games as well, and we have bowling. Let's check it all out, though, with the first game on tap. It is girls basketball. Valley Christian will travel to Wellsville. Coy will have the call there. 5:30 is your tip-off time for that game. At 6 o'clock, Girard will travel to Niles. Ian O'Brien will have the call for you there. Grand Valley will travel to Wyndham. The school broadcast team has you covered there for their 6 o'clock tip. Waterloo will travel to Springfield. Noah Doty has the call. That's a 6 o'clock tip as well. Brookfield and Garrettsville Garfield will start around 6:30, just 2 quarters JV for this one, as Brookfield and Garfield do battle for the second time this season. So about 6:30 start time there, and the school broadcast team will have you covered for that one. Senior night in Poland as Lakeview comes to town. I'll be there for the Bulldogs senior night. Mineral Ridge will be at Lowville. Eric Hughes will have the call for you there. Minerva travels to Beaver Local. Mike McKenzie calling the game there. That'll be a 7 o'clock tip. United will be at Lisbon. That should be an earlier game, about 6:15. Quinn will be there for that one. 7 o'clock is your start time. Senior night also in South Range, because the girls host Struthers. We'll have the huddle cam up for that one, so you'll be able to watch that game at 7 o'clock as well. Some games that are still happening that you can go and check out. Newton Falls will be at Campbell. Liberty will be at Champion. Sebring will be at McDonald. Hubbard will be at Jefferson. Louisville at Canfield. Let's see, Madonna, say Madonna, goes to Edison. Marlington travels to Howland. North will go to East. Get your compass out for that one. Oak Glen will be at East Liverpool at 7 o'clock. Scheduling note, La Brea at Crestview has been postponed. So is East Palestine at Columbiana. The boys' game for East Palestine tomorrow night has also been canceled as well. So boys basketball on tonight is Madison goes to Orange and Valley Christian goes to Wellsville. And then bowling on the network at 3 o'clock. Howland will first Struthers. The school has you covered with that one. Some other games that I know are happening. I think Akron Archbishop Hoban will travel to Green tonight on the girls' side, and Edgewood travels to Pymatuning Valley as well. That should be a good one in the non-conference for the Warriors, a big test for them before the tournament starts. But that does it for the games that are going to be on the network tonight, and that also does it for today's episode of Running Point. Tomorrow, we're going to have another Salem girls basketball player live on the show this time, 1 o'clock. It'll be Cami Rome joining us as a live guest. Don't miss that. We'll also have recaps of tonight's games, previews of tomorrow's games, and much more on tomorrow's episode of Running Point from 1 to 2. Check out the games tonight on ysnlive.com/live. Scroll past the sponsors and hit the play button on the game if you're choosing. Head over to ysnlive.com/live for that. While you're watching one game, you want to check out the scores of another. We have live scores in our live scoreboard page, ysnlive.com/scores for that. And then after the game, if you want to see how that result affected your team's standings, head over to ysnlive.com/standings for live updated standings board as well. So all that for you, like always. And we'll have more for you tomorrow from Running Point on 1 to 2. This has been the Monday episode. Thank you so much for tuning in to Running Point